All right, today, part 2, we're going to talk about nodes in DaVinci. We mentioned this in an earlier video, that these are really, this is one of the kind of the basic building blocks of color grading. You want to understand how nodes work, and they're not as scary as people think. Nodes are pretty easy to understand. So what we have here is nodes. Let's take a look at this. I'm using this as an example. I've got a video I did earlier where we've got, this is just a coffee video, and I've just got some good colors here that are good for grading. So you'll notice up here in the top right, this is your grade. This is your first grade. You can click the digit on that to actually turn it off, and you'll see your raw footage. Turn it back on, that's your basic grade. So this is a grade where usually you'll start with just a basic color balance in your first node. That's what a lot of people do for their workflow. So let's take, as we did before, let's take our gain. Let's bring our colors up so we get a little closer to that top end. We're getting a lot more color depth and saturation without cranking up the saturation. This is a better way to do that. And let's also bring the blacks up a little bit. We see on the bottom, they're a little bit clipped, a little bit muted. We see that evidence there. So we bring that up, get a little bit better view there. Okay. So one way to go about this is to start out your grade with just this, right? And then let's add in an additional node. So we do that by going up to the top here. We can say nodes. We can say add serial node. And that's going to add an additional node in line, and you see the lines that are drawn between it, those actually sort of connect it, right? That tells you that they are actually in this grade and they're actually functioning. So now we have a completely separate node where we can apply different effects or balances to it. And this gives us a lot of flexibility as we move through our workflow to go and manipulate different parts of it. So for example, if we wanted to do some sort of a heavy vignette, or if we wanted to do some additional saturation that is kind of above and beyond the normal grade, if you do it in an additional node, it's easy to turn that off and on again. So if we just take this and let's just as an example, let's just way oversaturate this. Okay, so we kind of blast those colors up. Let's mess with the hue too, just so we do something that's kind of very obvious, very ugly. Okay, if we click on that digit, it turns it off, and we see our underlying grade. We turn it back on, we get that. If we click on our first node, we see it gets rid of our initial color grade, which in our case was just the color depth. So this is a good way to kind of separate your different parts of your grade in ways that make sense to you, so that you can make changes and say, you don't have to do everything in one node. This is just a better way to work where you can kind of compartmentalize your changes, okay? And that way, if you decide, this isn't working for me, you can reset that grade completely and start fresh. This is a fresh node with no grading at all. And we can come back to it, and you'll see saturation back to 50, which is default. We can bring let's say we mess with our contrast, sharpening and softening. But we can make those changes without affecting our previous one. Now they are in line, so the order here does matter. If we were to make some wild change here to the color, and then say desaturate it in the next one. So let's take saturation, boom, down. So we're desaturating afterward. But if we change these around, and we'll have to delete the lines, delete all those lines. We're just gonna reverse these, click on that, and then we'll reconnect them. Just grab the little connectors there, and off you go. And now we have a complete chain again. So you can see we're desaturating, and then we've got our effects after that. So the order does matter. It's important to understand that. It just really makes your workflow better. So give this a try, guys, see what you think. And if you have additional questions about nodes and how you can improve your workflow, your color correcting workflow with them, please hit me up in the comments. Be happy to talk about it. Thanks, guys.